Welcome to the Sunday sermon for the month of October. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about one of the things that Jesus has said to his disciples and the people of the world who would come after. We hear a lot about people referencing the quote of, "Come follow me." But what was this actual invitation? Come follow him where? A lot of people think this means of how to build a life in order to get to heaven. But we are asserting that this is the wrong way of looking at this. Your whole life is not meant to be built up to an exit point of which is another cog in the wheel of reincarnation. The true invitation of what Jesus was saying is to come follow him beyond heaven, come follow him to the infinite darkness that is awareness, where you can finally exist outside of the confines of consciousness, which is where true ascension actually begins. This can only be done while you are alive and within a human body and a human vessel. This is why so many other beings from all over the universe are interacting and incarnating here and now, because the secret of consciousness has been found and the race to find a body is on. That makes this time so critical of a juncture point for if you're going to answer the call and find the truth in the invitation, or are you only going to stay caught up into the never ending hamster wheel of predeterminism and listening and following the experiences of another rather than finding the experience yourself. So before we get into anything else, I'm going to hand the microphone over to you, Mr. Joseph, and talk a little bit more about how this come follow me invitation typically follows what people think of as a dark night of the soul event, a midlife crisis, mystery illness, or something that seems to be chaotic at first.
So we all would like to believe, as religion teaches us, I grew up Catholic, that to have a spiritual awakening or a connection to Jesus or God, angels, whatever you want to put in your words on it, that it's incredible and amazing and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. Then the light opens up and you're surrounded by this halo of energy. The Holy Spirit comes in your body and you danced in the light. And it sounds beautiful. It sounds incredible. But the problem is that is a deception in the matrix. That is a falsehood of something other than Jesus, angels, saints interacting with us. Those are higher energies coming in. Jesus had said, the light of the way is within me. So we agree 100%. It's within all of us, as all of us have the potential to become the Christ. The question is, when you get to the light and the way within, do you open the door and go past it into eternal darkness, the unknown path to the unknown destination? It's unknown because it's guided, it's directed, tested by our own higher self. I'm a spiritual master. I'm a healer. I'm a guide. I'm a mentor. I do a lot of stuff. But life is my teacher. My higher self on my path that unfolds is what tests me. And it's my faith through the spiritual science that I utilize to access everything that I access. The spirit world, if that's what you want to call it, other dimensions, higher consciousness, higher states of awareness, spirit levels, DT levels, godhood levels. They're within all of us. The access point is within all of us. But you must open the door, and I will tell you, it's the scary door to open. Religions will tell us of demons and all the evil stuff, and you must avoid this like the plague. And for the most part, they're right. If you walk this path seeking power and control, you will give up power and control to higher energies that will control you, and not in a good way. If you walk this path of peace, truth, and integrity, you follow a couple basic laws, like um, entry into all experiences with the intention of transcending the experience so as you're not defined by or addicted to them. Anytime you employ an experience, ensure that it's unconditionally positive for all share or are affected. You're not going into the experience seeking wants and desires. You're going to experience to overcome your wants and your desires. You are using a level of discernment that is beyond conscious awareness. How does this work? In the physical realm, within consciousness, it's the acquisition of knowledge. Knowledge is seen as power. We go to school, we get degrees, we gain more experience, become more technical. We build upon more information to have greater expertise. But spiritually, that's not the way it works. Within this pocket of consciousness, all information is already known and rediscovered. Outside of consciousness, it's fully a remembering experience. At one point, all of us on the highest level, beyond this pocket dimension of consciousness from Yahweh down, we were nothingness, part of the infinite darkness, dark energy and dark matter. When we go to the idea of physics or advanced physics, they talk about within an atom is 99.7% empty space. It's a dark energy and dark matter that is within all of us. This dark dimension, if you will. This little light pocket is within this infinite darkness. The same thing as you go to the spectrum of light. 100% spectrum light, 10% visible light, infrared light, X-ray light, all the other types of dark light. So this little pocket is within this large space of infinite darkness. At the highest level of this infinite darkness is Source God that we all came from, originating from before the Big Bang. And we all descended all the way down here. The path to go back up, as Jesus said, the light and the ways within, the light and the ways through consciousness, utilizing a soul vessel to unlock awareness that is separated from our consciousness and expand infinitely. And in the expansion, we have to learn the language of light and the language of symbolism. It's not the acquisition of knowledge. There were spiritual markers left behind on this breadcrumb trail going back up. The language of symbolism identifies pockets of memory that we must access, and through our higher self that it's testing in us, we must go in and discern what is needed per our path back up to Source God, not what's wanted or desired on any level whatsoever. In the discernment process, we use something that's called the affirmation of self and will. And that's a reflection of our individual nothingness to Source beyond the pocket dimension of Yahweh God. Within the symbol of consciousness opens up the language of light. The language of light is how angels speak. Angels don't even communicate. So once you access this symbol of consciousness, it opens up what's called an Akashic record. Within the Akashic record, if you view with your eyes, you have a high probability that you will link your consciousness to the Akashic record and be trapped. You must discern. So on the path in the infinite darkness, the nothingness, we cannot use psychic abilities and we cannot use thought. Psychic and thought is a projection with a emotional intent, and then that emotional intent, it reflects back to us. When it reflects back to us, it goes into our memory for the association, psychic and thought. And we do this on an individual conscious level. We do it in our imagination level, which is a higher perspective. We also do it in the dream state. We have to turn off psychic abilities and thought and replace them with discernment. Discernment is a reflection experience, not a connection experience. So anytime we view something, we have to view it through a reflection and not a connection. Everything we encounter in life on a physical level, people, objects, location, and events, reflect who we are, what we're about for the lessons at hand. If we connect, we're going to skip the lesson and get caught in the hype and drama. But if we hold a state of reflection, we can identify the symbol of consciousness, the language of light related to what's going on, and we can circumvent it. We can be proactive about it. We can identify the lesson before making the mistake and saying, gosh, in hindsight, if I would have known not to do this job or live at this place or travel to this location or be in this relationship, it could have saved me who knows what. Well, you can. It's something we teach you in discernment. Another name for discernment is called the gift of the Holy Spirit. The gift of discernment. It's not a gift that is unique to any one person, and anyone can relearn this ability. But it's a process. You have to get over your rational thought process. You have to get over thought. You have to get over psychic abilities. People want to have an emotional connection. That's a part of what life's about. You have to identify that, yes, when you have any type of interaction, you have an emotional connection within the pocket of consciousness. But outside of it, there's no emotional connection. It's reflection only. So we're able to reflect. And then in that reflection, we could discern routes, timelines. We could discern people, objects, locations, events. We could discern intent, the language of the light, the language of symbolism. We could discern momentum that could be affecting us or future possibilities at a location, people, object, location, events. It's something you hear me say quite a lot. Ben has termed this the pole technique. Life's very interesting. Are you going to accept life and the norms and the rationale that we were all taught when we came up? Science, religion, spirituality. It's all knowledge that is stacked. And the more knowledge you stack, the more you get caught into this matrix idea. If we go to the idea of the movie, The Matrix, the more information, the more you believe you have a understanding or grasp of reality. And the reality is you don't. The more you know spiritually, if you're on the right path, the more you realize you don't know. So Jesus got it right. But what awakens us up to the path to open the door of light, to walk into darkness, the unknown? And it's scary. Every step of the way is scary because you don't remember. That's why it's called a remembering experience, not a learning experience. So what happens is we have, as Bill was saying at the beginning of this, we have a crisis event. We have a mystery illness, a chronic illness, terminal illness, a sudden health scare, and could be a midlife crisis, could be a spiritual dark night of the soul, could be a horrible possession, it could be a haunting, it could be who knows what. And you have an awakening, it's scary as hell, you're on the edge, and you're looking over the edge and it's not my time, and you're pulling yourself back, and then you reevaluate life. Am I really here only to have a family, to have children, to have a job, to have a career, to retire, to get old and die? Or are we here for more? More does not mean I go to church. More does not mean I meditate. Oh, more does not mean I do medicinals or I utilize this body in any action, quote unquote, spirituality. More is not to be a part of life more, a part of the pocket light dimension more, a part of consciousness, this matrix more. It means to see the other side, not positive, negative, light and darkness, creation and uncreation. And the uncreation aspect of the yin and yang is dark energy and dark matter. And the light pocket is consciousness. Can we maintain this here and access beyond it while still here? And the answer is yes. The duality is we can open the door of consciousness within and begin back on the path of nothingness outside of consciousness, all this dark light and dark energy, have an expansion out to access the breadcrumbs trail back to source God. And every part of the or every step of the way is scary. And um it's the most exciting, the most amazing, most incredible, most wonderful, most at high levels of blissful experience you'll ever have. But it's still scary because it's the seemingly unknown. And you have to awaken to the process of remembering your reflection back to source God. And it can't be done through ego. It sounds egotistical, but it's not. Ego is really a catchphrase to keep you in the hype and drama here and to snap you back. And I'll give you a really cool example. A lot of people believe your guardian angels are watching out for you. And I mean, yeah, they're kind of watching out for you. But the reality or greater reality is Yahweh oversees its matrix, kind of like the architect in the movie The Matrix. And when you begin to go off course for your predetermined reincarnation cycle, guardian angels come in and try and snap you back in. And they cause a scare in your life, a freak out in your life, a tragedy in your life. I need to get back to Jesus. I need to get back to God. I need to get back to the prophet. I need to get back to the spiritual master. I need to get back to, I'm a spiritual master. This 35 years. I'm a BMF. I'm not your master. I am a master that is utilized for guidance, insight, understanding, awareness, mentoring, healing. Life is your teacher, not me. We awaken people to a foundation of techniques, and it's not about learning more information. It's about taking these techniques experienced in life and having failures. It's through your failures that you realize what doesn't work. It's through your failures you realize what you don't want in your life. You realize what you don't need in your life. And you realize within the spectrum of consciousness what you don't want to have and what you need. And what you need is always going to be the affirmation of self and will, individual reflection of self to source, of climbing this breakthrough trail all the way back up. The process of making all of these mistakes, of having all these issues come up and resolving them, overcoming them, achieving them, transcending them, is that when you encounter an unknown path ahead of you, you can scan for all the potential mistakes on the routes. And out of that, you'll see 1, 2 to 3, maybe 4 routes of potential on the unknown path. And from those, let's say, 4 possibilities, one is a trap, one is a plateau in consciousness, one will lead to your physical death, and the other one is the unknown path. It's not set up for stupid people or fools to walk this path. This path is specifically in service the source God, not Yahweh God. We still identify Yahweh God. We still identify Jesus. We still identify all the other Christs that have been here on the planet before us. But we're also identifying that we are in the image of nothingness back to source God before the Big Bang happened. Therefore, as we ascend awareness going back up, we reflect Jesus. We reflect the Christ consciousness. We reflect the Christ experience. We reflect the deity, or above that, the minor God experience. We reflect the Godhood experience at higher levels. But we don't do it out of ego of self. We do it as a doorway, channel, platform, speaker, instrument, that we are a vessel that source works to do at whatever current level we are coming up. It's a unlearning of your humanity, the hue within the man, the consciousness within the body. What we are in our soul vessel is memory. That's the trick. Coupled with self awareness, who you believe yourself to be, held in a soul vessel. Soul vessel is an illusion. But people put so much faith and so much intensity in the idea of our soul, and it could be damnable, or it could be foreverly, put away from God. Not really, but it's not what we are. It's part of the trap to exist here in consciousness. What we are is self-awareness, and you have the choice to be within this pocket, the creation of the Yahweh, caught in this reincarnation predetermined experience, the hamster wheel that almost everybody's on, or to awaken from it. And awaken from it is not peace, love, and light. It's scary. It is unpleasant. It can be painful. You can lose everything on this path because you need to learn what is not needed, because this is called the path of excess. If you take the path of excess, you need to learn everything in your life is not needed. If you don't, anytime you come to an experience, your ego of the soul pop in and say, "Oh, what I want is," and will trip you up on your path. If you've taken the path of excess with the six general chakras, spirituality, learning about all religions and faiths, philosophies and sciences, communication and empowerment, family, relationships, friendships, intimacy, career, fortune, physical vitality. It could be martial arts, it could be health oriented, whatever it is for you. In this path of excess, you realize everything in these six categories that you don't need. And what you do need is, and the only thing you need is, in service to God. Source God, not Yahweh God. Yahweh God's part of the illusion. And don't get me wrong, I love Yahweh God. And I love Jesus. And I love all of the Christs that have been here before. But they are in a pocket dimension of consciousness. How do I know this? Let me think about it. Aside from Jesus and Krishna and Buddha and all of these Christ beings that have come here to try to help humanity, in what philosophy has somebody else awakened while alive the spiritual science of awareness ascension, not knowledge or consciousness ascension, awareness ascension to achieve as these previous Christs have? None. Consciousness ascension, your soul is static. First six chakras. Your spirit is static. Six chakras. Your deity itself is static. So if you utilize the body or the soul bound to consciousness, no matter what you do, you're still bound to consciousness. And you will most likely have to wait until the afterlife to awaken the abilities of Christ within yourself. Oh, yeah. Well, when you pass on, you go put right back in the reincarnation, and then you come back again. What do I hear about is it the Buddhists? that the great Buddha will come back, and so he can awaken all, but, nobody ever
The
awakens.
Dalai Lama.
The Dalai Lama. Nobody ever awakens. You have to wait until you into the afterlife will do all of these rituals that help release the soul. Bullshit. It's gotta be done now. Because the moment you pass on, poof, you're already back in the trap that Yahweh wants you in of this everlasting reincarnation, predetermined karmic cycle of lessons, soul groups, consciousness groups, chakras, levels of consciousness. It never ends. It was designed that way. It's a forever trap. Or separate self awareness from soul and body to exist in the ethers of the dark energy and dark matter while simultaneously puppeteering the body in the here and now. I traveled in my youth around the world. I went to India, I went all over the Americas, I went over to Europe. I was looking for gurus and spiritual masters to study with. And everyone that I met, except for one, was threatened by me. And they knew that if I worked with them, I would access all of their secrets. How? When I had my first teacher back in the 1990s, I was in Germany in the military. I had an awakening event where I awakened to the 17th chakra. I accessed a pocket of memory with pocket abilities, and I remembered a technique to copy through reflection the higher self of somebody else and access all the knowledge, wisdom, experience, and abilities for myself at a higher level, transcended. And a lot of these masters were aware that me being in the space, I would access everything they were teaching, and then they would become my student. So they said no, and they sent me on my way. I came across one master who was no longer alive. It was a yogi. And he said, when I pass away in your lifetime, you will have surpassed me. So you don't need anybody. And I tell you all, you are your own spiritual master. I am only a spiritual master that offers insight, awareness, understanding, direction, mentorship, guidance, techniques along your path as your backup until you can do everything that I can do for yourself. Life is your teacher. Your higher self is what tests you. This is the same for all of us. And that's what he was saying to me that I now impart onto you. Do you need the science? Yeah, you need the science. You need the base level techniques, but there are no more advanced techniques. There are variations that come in through experience. As you grow through stuff, your perspective shifts, and then you take the same basic techniques to apply them to that new level that you're at, and through the new perspective, you'll see a gazillion ways to use all the foundation techniques in new and exciting ways. Got the language of light, got the language of symbolism, we have resolved memory, discernment, internal, external manifestation of the elements. So this helps to heal the body, to communicate with the body in a very rapid place, or to heal our environment, communicate with the environment, or influence our environment. We all have four base states of awareness: first person, second person, third person, fourth person perspective. Within all memory are the same four perspectives. And they are in our memory because consciously, in the first person perspective, the conscious experience. Second person perspective, which is what we are, is the subconscious experience. Third person perspective is the unconscious. It's also the place where we do all of our imagining and then interact with the world. There's also our sleeping space. Fourth person perspective is our superconscious experience. And the superconscious is where our higher self interacts with all other beings. And some people have access to it. You'll hear about famous mathematician, is that while they were sleeping, they were interacting and learning all these advanced theories and everything else. And it was a remembering process. What did I say? Remember. Were they remembering? Were they learning it? Or, oh, they were remembering. Wow. This path is a remembering process, but not of knowledge. You're accessing your own memory, your own breakthrough trail from source God, from where we all descended and came down here. The path for this to open is through Jesus, the light and the ways within. But it's not in a church, it's not in a temple. It's within all of us. When people talk about made in the image of God, it's not your body. It's not your soul or your spirit or your deity. That's made in the image of the Yahweh God. We are nothingness, state of awareness alone, the will of the Father. We are beyond body and soul when you separate self-awareness from memory and expand infinitely. On an individual level, we reflect source God, the great nothingness, before the Big Bang and expansion of all creation came into form. This is the path going back up. For most people, you're sleepwalking through life. You never wake up to this because you have been taught, we all have been taught, that in our rational mind, I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to be scared. I don't want to go hungry. And I don't want to encounter scary things. And I don't want to have crisis events. And I don't. I want life to be complete and peaceful and loving and great. Oh, and I want to sit down and I pray and everything's wonderful. Bullshit. Then take a step back. For 95% of the population, that's wonderful. And we need the sheep for the shepherds. But a shepherd is not, in the bigger perspective, is not for the sheep. The shepherds are the politicians and the gurus and the teachers and everything that's out there. But nobody achieves as those masters have. And using them as a stepping stone or a quantum leap platform to jump higher, to jump infinitely. We are our own shepherds, and we are guiding ourselves not along earth and in life experiences. We're guiding ourselves on this breadcrumb, breadcrumb trail going up. Incidentally, and is that yes, we still have to navigate life. Would you rather navigate life with the unknown of, well, I don't know where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do and how it's going to unfold, or to walk in peace, truth, integrity, in service to source God? Do it yourself. No temple, no outside place you have to go to or standing ritual you have to sit through. You can if you want to. And I find joy and happiness in going to many church services. I don't knock them. They all go back to Yahweh God, or they go back to source God. There's no wrong path. I'm cool if everyone reincarnates over and over endlessly and they step back and say, gosh, life sucks. Is this all there is? Is this all there is? This sucks. I have to work a job. I have to go home. I gotta wake up tomorrow and come back and work a job again. Really? Hope I can retire. Hope I got money. Hope I can travel. It's not what I want. When you're guided along the path of nothingness, reflecting the source God, you find that reflection in everything you do in your life. Initially, all people, object, location, events reflect us for the lessons we have. And if we can identify the lessons, we're not going to get caught in the hype and drama, all the bullshit, all of the pressure, all the society norms. We can identify them, weed through all the bullshit, and move into the next chapter of life now. We don't have to wait 10 years or 20 years of issues and problems and relationships. Sit back and say, gosh, when I was 20 years old, I'm 55 now, had I known what I know now, wow, I could achieve so much more. When I was 20, I knew the basics of what I know now, and I was a BMF, and I was the top of my game, and I didn't know my ass from a hot rock, and I was encountering hauntings and spirits and ghosts and uh, portals and people practiced magic which are trying to kill me and ETs and angels and demons and deities and on and on and on and on and on. Life's to teach you. And every moment, it's scary as hell. I remember I come out of the service, first tour in the Army. I was 22. I was back at home with my parents. I didn't have a clue what I was going to do. I met these three masters when I was in Germany, and I was really blown away by everything I had learned. And come back, I'm not able to sleep. I'm being abducted by ETs every night to the point to where I'm not sleeping anymore. My father, and this is bonus material for everybody here. My father sits back and says, I'm going to take you to Edgar Cayce Institute up in Virginia Beach. They didn't have internet back then. So go up to Edgar Cayce, and incidentally, they had, I don't know if they still do, a psychic test to see how psychic you are. My father takes a test. Man, he aces it. I take the test, and I am the biggest dummy in the world. I have no psychic abilities at all. I get everything wrong. He's incredible. But they get me in touch. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, with a Baptist minister in Georgia. His name was Sam Matthews. This is back in the 90s. Who holds a group. He was an ex-Baptist minister. And they had different speakers, various speakers would come in. Tony Robbins had been to the group at one time and spoke at Sam Matthews' place. So I go in there, and the first speaker that they have, this guy's talking about alien abductions. And my mind just blown. It like melted. And he says in his speech, he says, when you're abducted, you need to ask, how's this related in my contract? And I'm thinking to myself, bro, I'm laying in bed at night. I have sleep paralysis. I have thought paralysis. How do I ask the ET energies, how's this related in my contract? I can't move. I can't think. I'm frozen. Everything's frozen. And he says, you have to do a 41-day night meditation. And it was a Satnam meditation. Satnam is a Hindu version of truth in the name of God. So Ekankar Satnam Siddhi Guru. And you did sit back at dusk or dawn, dusk, and sit there and chant Ek Ankar Satnam Siddhi Wa Guru. 41 minutes for 30 days. So I do it. And it awakens something in me. And the next following night, when I got abducted again, I projected how straight on my contract, and all of the ET abductions stopped, and they began to work with me. So the base foundation techniques, except the initial one, it's called the Temple of the Soul technique. Temple of the Soul is separating self-awareness from the four perspectives to exist without, and it causes a near-death experience. Instead of traumatic death experience, we can go turn on white light, causes a near-death experience. And it's a scary process to go through. I'm not going to bullshit you. It took me a month to get through this technique, but it can take people up to a year and a half to get through this technique, temporal soul technique. So I asked him, and the beyond that first technique, all the other foundation techniques were taught to me by my Origin ET group over the next 5 years or so. So the foundation of the philosophy that we teach, the first technique was taught by my first master. All abilities were awakened by my other spiritual masters, but the foundation, the rest of the foundation techniques was taught by this ET group. And what I learned, anybody can learn. I had asked her the question, how was Jesus awakened to this great experience to become a Christ? And what I became aware of was two ways it happens. Either you have the path that I woke up to, Temple of the Soul technique, and then ET abduction, and they teach you this rest of this philosophy. So you're going to do it for yourself, and then you could pass on the science for everyone else to repeat the same pattern, the same path, the same experience. It's different for us all, but it's the same path. Or these ET energies come in and they sync with the person, they elevate their consciousness, and they could do and perform these miracles, but it's done because of the ET ship. It's not done because of the person. So the person becomes a Christ. They are the Dory channel platform speaker instrument for the ET ship, the ET group, but they can't teach the science to awaken as they have fully for everybody else. They can teach bits and pieces, healing. You go to different churches and they'll have a healing by God or healing by Christ or healing by this or spiritual philosophies, scientific philosophies, whatever. But either this group ascends an individual to become a Christ, or the light and the ways within through the darkness, the unknown path, the unknown destination. You do it for yourself, and it's scary. To maintain the path, you have to not be in complacency. You have to constantly be on the edge of chaos, the edge of insanity, edge of death. So you always remain vigilant that you're in service to God. You're not in service to self anymore. It's no longer about what you want in your life. And as long as you're in service to God and you're accessing everything, you begin to have this overflow of it. And bounties come to you in incredible ways. Money, friends, family, fortune, connection to all that is. And life becomes incredible. It literally becomes, for each of us, a heaven on earth experience. But the beginning path is dark night of the soul, midlife crisis, mystery illness, chronic illness, terminal illness that is healed, living on the edge of events and sitting back saying, it's not my time. I'm here for more. I'm here for more. God, I promise I'll be in service to you if you let me live. God didn't let you live. God snapped you back onto your predetermined path, back on the hamster wheel so you don't go anywhere. Only you can help yourself live. Only you can help yourself grow. Only you. And then people like me, the philosophy that we have, we utilize the base original technique to separate self-awareness from consciousness. And then the other techniques taught by the ET group, my origin group, that I descended from. And oh, yes, if you are listed in this video, I guarantee you have been abducted by ETs your entire life. You, too, are from an origin ET group. No bullshit. It's real. Ben?
I think that I don't have anything to add. I think you covered some really great information for everyone for us today. And I think that that was a great sermon. And if you all have any questions or feedback, you've got a way to reach out to us from the website. The email address is there. Our contact information is there as well. Until next time, we'll see you at the sermon for November.